Discord controls. Well, let's see if you can hear that.
I can hear that.
The problem I'm leaking right now is I'm actually leaking lots and lots of audio, and so I'm trying to get it so that you're not actually echoing away into a tin can for 30,000 years.
Oh.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
some
I
reason,
can hear myself.
Yeah. So Discord does not like me. Or no, not Discord, sorry. What do you call it? The thing. There we go. The evil of OBS. Let's try that. Maybe. Well, I lost you altogether. That's an improvement.
No, I'm here. I just wasn't talking.
Okay, yeah, I'm hearing weird echoes anyways, even though I just killed my speakers.
Oh.
So, yeah, lovely. That's weird because I only have one feed going for Discord, so I have no idea. Okay, let me kill that one. Anyway, suffice to say, let's do this a different way. Let's try it. Okay, let's see if that's any better.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you with a cool delay, and my speakers got you. So let me just actually shut the speakers off, as in, like, make them not work at all. Because, you know, that's one of those things you do, right?
Today has been like the day of tech issues.
Wow. That's got to be the worst echo I've heard in ages. All right. So I've got some echo, not as much now. Let's just...
Well, that's good.
Nope, apparently not. Okay. I'm just going to go live sound and we'll kill the Discord one. That's probably what half the problem is. My apologies to you. Feel free to send over whenever. We're just going to build more that we had before.
Okay. As soon as you go live, I'll send them over.
Sounds like a plan. Well, I should be streaming now. All right. Where are we? So for those of you that are already live with me, making the assumption that that is the case, yeah, OBS claims it's live. But for those of you that are live with me, welcome on in, Raiders. And after being notified about, or reminded, I should say, about the, oh, that's fun, about the echoes that I had in Discord yesterday, I was actually attempting last night to figure out why are they getting the various sources feeding over top of one another over and over and over again. But for some reason, it's gotten worse, not better, even though the logic says that some of the feeds shouldn't exist at all. So I don't know. But we are here. I hope you guys had a good time in Stormy's stream. I do apologize for not being able to say hello correctly. Major apologies for that one. So what we're looking at... Oh, and I hit a tree. Can I fly? Apparently not. All right, let's try some more time. Up. And can I hit the tree a little less hard this time? Spin! Well, I'm on the tree. Good enough. So this thing we are working on is a chest-level bust, more or less, of Sherlock Holmes. Hopefully we can get some good work done on that today. The other thing we'll probably be doing a little bit of is hanging some lighting and maybe doing a little bit of moving in the church. But most likely we'll be doing some of the statue. Now that I've got, I mean, the flying up and down to it could be, I wouldn't say interesting, but it could be a bit of a challenge. Otherwise, we don't have the beacon to set up and we don't have a lot of those other things, a lot of those other side effect items that we had yesterday, getting ourselves all ready to go. Interesting. Oh, I see what that is. Thank you very, very, very much, Benson, for renewing your subscription. I do appreciate that. It spoils me to know that anybody wants to return, so I really appreciate it every time that happens. Also, good afternoon to anyone who's just saying hello, and I do see that Benson was here first, so I appreciate that as well. All right. It's great to see anybody who was able to make it. Stormy, if you get a second, or if anyone could on Stormy's behalf, let me know what you guys were up to this afternoon. I really would appreciate hearing that. I admit I have not been watching any of the streams so far, and the reason for that is just that, as you do, if you're going to be volunteering, Murphy's Law, stuff is never going to want to leave you alone right when you've got other things to do. So I was working on some Scout stuff today, and then after that, trying to work on my daughter's Halloween costume accessories. So I'm a very newbie knitter. Not newbie knitter, sorry, a newbie crocheter.
Hello there.
And, hello. Where am I here? Music is off. Oh, that's actually because that's legit my fault. There we go. I have tunes now. Let's hope that works. So I'm a very newbie crocheter, and crocheter, if that's the word. Anyways, and so I was trying to put together an accessory handbag for her Luna Lovegood costume, and it's let's just say it's a good thing that Luna's as quirky as she is. So, yeah. Where am I here? That one? Come on. I can reach you. There we go. It works! Hype. Today's playlist is, brought to you literally by Spotify. Artist for all of these pieces is a gentleman by the name of Oddchap. I'm not particularly sure what part of the world he's from. And some of it is cover tunes of familiar things, but he's also one of those artists I like his music, so I play it a fair bit because I like the electro swing stuff, but unfortunately, I'm not able to play a full ton of it because it has a habit of getting copyright strike or copyright tag notices. Not because he's doing it. This is actually the playlist he specifically set up not to have that happen on, but it's one of those ones that YouTube loves to find and tag as somebody completely different than the artist. Why YouTube does that, I will never know. At least I could see, okay, yeah, if I knowingly used a song by a particular artist, then sure, fine, tag it as that artist. But if it's somebody entirely different, seriously, YouTube, I don't want to know. I don't want you tagging it when it's not the right person, but, can't win. It's YouTube. Let's see. It works. Weird on the no phone. You have yours with you at all times, and due to your mom's... Oh yeah, I see, yeah. Yeah, if you leave your phone at home, you feel pretty weird. Well, I actually will admit I have turned around a couple of times when I was going somewhere like off to scout camp or something for the weekend. And one would think, unplugged, that's fantastic. I actually have turned around and come back to get it. Even when I'm not the one who's going to be in charge of records or attendance or anything like that. I may have to keep an eye on eating bit, otherwise I'm going to be dead from all these splats running around here. I think that might actually have been yesterday's question of the day, so let's see if I can get that part to work. Command buttons. There we go. Okay, so today's new question of the day is, what is the worst jelly bean flavor that you think exists? Now that one is a specific family-friendly only answers, please, I think. As in, I think that's specific to it. One of the other things I tried to do is remove that label from absolutely every question. But somehow it may have crashed and not saved, because I know I had some problems with that last night too. But I would say probably one of the worst... Vomit, yes. Well, yeah.
Hello?
Sick of various different forms, particularly if it involves pasta and meat sauce. But let's see, if I dodge the obvious ones like earwax and boogers and so on, that I think exists. Sometimes I would think probably some of the international flavors. So I mean, I don't know if people like Super Fishy or even Joe maybe would be able to tell me a little bit more about some of the possibly more oddball flavors where they live. Because, I mean, there's international flavors that I'm just not into. Like, for example, I know part of China has blackened pickled eggs. I think some people call them like century eggs or whatever. But the thing with those eggs is that they've been, they're so old and fermenty and nasty. I think if you were to make what a waste of the food it would be. But if you were to make jelly beans out of that, that would probably be one of my worst possible combinations for flavors. Let's see. Another one that actually really does probably exist somewhere is a chocolate alternative, popular for using popular in a lot of ways, but carob chips. They're common, a chocolate alternative if either you've got allergies or you can't have it, or they're popular in like dog biscuits and stuff too. And when I was younger and not young enough to have an excuse, I did try it because I was like, I wonder what this alternative would be like, because I was aware that you could buy the carob stuff for people. Yeah, unsweetened carob chip, or let me say, unsweetened dog biscuit chocolate is really, really nasty. Nasty. Grass. Yeah, the artificial, like, the Harry Potter grass one wasn't too bad, but I could see why if it was more legitimate flavor, then yeah, and more realistic flavor, grass would be pretty rough too. I think that would be... That's one of those ones where people go, well, how would you actually know? Have you ever tasted grass? Personally, yes, although that was just due to me being klutzy and falling on my face. Ooh. And I think I still have... Oh, there we go. Let's mute that. There. So yeah, that was just me being klutzy and falling on my face and, being dumb to get a mouthful of grass. But so yeah, that would be kind of gross. I used to think liver as a candy would be pretty gross. So like I don't mind if you say liver and onions as a food dish, but as a candy I think it might be pretty nasty. There's things that would probably work as foods that don't work as jelly bean flavors. And the same thing, it's still a food product, but say foie gras would be kind of odd. That would be one. Somebody told me once that they actually would do, they called it fermented, but I think it was just probably ceviche giblets, and then they'd fry them. I don't know why you'd bother cevicheing them first, but they wanted to basically marinate with the citrus, the flavor of sorts. And it's like, well, okay, that might be okay as a food, but please, please, please do not give it to me as a candy. Candied dried salmon is a bit of a weird one as well. It's good, but it's not one that you would normally think of as overly edible. What else would we got? Grass would be, yeah. Let's see, we've got some of the normal ones I think that are just weird, like they're things people probably would eat that I'm not a huge fan of the flavor of is, well, thank you very much for the reset, sir. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to see you. We've seen each other in Discord, but we haven't crossed paths on stream for a while, just everybody's been busy and stuff. So, thank you very much for the resub. Let's see. Regular flavors that I think don't work too well as jelly beans would probably include popcorn. I've had popcorn jelly beans from different manufacturers, and they're all... Some of them are good, most of them are like styrofoam. But thank you very much as well for the resub, PP Zerk. I do appreciate that.
Hello!
Hello! Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna pause for one sec. I hope this works. Hello! Hello. There we go. So, ooh, another piece, if I can actually hit this one. So this isn't anything new, I just finally got around to listing the command set up on the server at the moment. Part of it is also to use it as a seed for ideas if there's anything else people want to start throwing in there. So if you... Ooh, hype train is pretty nice. I haven't had hype train in ages. There's a lot of ringing and dinging going on. Oops. I'm not even sure what that particular ring was for. I do apologize. As soon as I figure it out, I'll let you know. Because the hype train's usually the train noise. And the epic sax, thank you ever so much for that as well. So where are we here? Oh, I thank you for gifting a sub. Sorry, I missed that, Benson. I do apologize. Who did you give to? Dub. Congratulations, Dub, on the gifted sub, and thank you very much, Benson, for giving it to him. I really appreciate that. So the...
Hello?
Hello. One of the things I'd love to do in my head is try and guess. Wow. Okay, now I get it. I picked Epic Sax because I was playing off the term epic. I appreciate that so much. And those dings would be the sub as a result of the gift. Okay. Now I know what I did. It's funny. I set these things up long enough ago that I don't always remember what does what anymore. I mean, follows are obvious because it has the word follow in the sound. So congratulations to the new people that receive subs. And let me just see if I can catch that list. Did that expand? No, it did not. Okay, so the list... Tier 1 sub 2... Oh, I should have done it. Shut that down. Shoot. Okay, so congratulations to... If you're around, and if you're not, that's okay. We've got Tabrina and Ziptuous and Yellow and Chief Tackleberry and Creef. So welcome aboard, all you new subbers. Thank you very much, everybody. As you may have noticed, it's pretty common for a lot of streamers to have a Discord for feedback offline. That's one of those things I haven't done yet. Part of it is because A, I'm in a lot of Discords. B, so is everybody else. So, you know, you don't get a lot of discourse there. So I'm debating whether or not I want to actually bother opening one, just so that when things come up, or if there's reminders or feedback or whatever, people are able to find me. But, oops, we're going to do that. But I think what I might try and do, and I mentioned this maybe a while ago, I don't know, a lot of stuff goes through my head that doesn't always make it to stream. Sounds like somebody else we know. In any case, but one of the things that's been going through my head is to consider partnering with one of the other more quiet streamers and consider sharing a Discord. But we'll see, because that has to involve a commitment on my part to actually properly learn how to manage one and run one correctly, just so that I don't end up breaking all the hard work that people will or have already gone to. So that's something it's one of those, it may not be necessary, but everybody and their dog has one, so it probably wouldn't hurt. The thing is, though, it hurts if it's a dead one. So yeah. That's one of those things that just goes through my head. There's a lot of stuff that goes through my head. I say, oh yeah, I really want to do X, or I want to do Y and I'd say it on stream, and in some cases I write it down and then promptly be dumb and recycle the sheet I wrote it on. So there's things like that if I forget, you may end up needing to actually DM me every once in a blue moon and be like, yo, you promised me you would, whatever it was. And today's mystery sleeper appears to be JBT8881. So thank you very much, JBT, for doing that. I appreciate it immensely. If we end up with too loud, too soft, or too much tangent, feel free to let me know. Want to keep this rolling today just because I'm in a good mood, a little wired, and we're actually making some sort of progress on this project. So, for those of you that weren't here yesterday, because I know not everybody's able to be on these Stream Weekend streams every weekend. Ooh. Congratulations, ITT Tom, in receiving a subscription from Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Well, thank you, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. I actually really appreciate that one to Tom, because in the early days, Tom saved my bacon and helped me really make this happen. He before I had this particular round of audio issues, he was definitely able to walk me through the setup of Twitch to get things going, so that's great. So for those of you who weren't around yesterday, I'm just letting you know that I really wanted to build a bust like this. I was working on a statue design. I was very unhappy with it. It was not working out. the sketches and stuff. I couldn't get it to work the way I wanted. Just the nature of like roughly 1 by 1 meter blocks. And apparently my watch is going insane. So I need to just figure out how to set it in streaming mode. Because otherwise it's going to be more insane. Ah, excellent choice, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Welcome aboard the subtrain, Lord Snarl. I really do appreciate that. Ooh, and I do apologize, Zerk, for missing your cheer. Those things are kind of new to me as well. It's one of those I set it up a while ago, and it just didn't get used, so I didn't really think about it after that point. But we're growing and changing. So anyway, I was not doing so well on the statue design, and I thought, you know, like, where does anybody have any sketches or designs that I could use as reference photos, like I've been doing for the church, for a nice little, you know, desktop bust statue kind of thing. And it just so happened that I found one I quite liked, which was being given away as a 3D printing design. So from there, and yes, I know I owe a couple people the link of where I did this, but basically I found a website online, or you can, there was another one where you can install an app, but the website turned out to be better. In any case, where you can take the OBJ, so I think it's object files, or the STL files for a 3D print, and then put it through a site that calls itself a voxelizer, and then you can save that as one of many different formats. And one of the formats it allowed me to save it as was a schematic, which is compatible with the Lightmatica in Minecraft, and so then I turned it into a Lightmatic, and here we are. So yeah, and that's allowing me to rip through this thing and actually have something that I quite like. It just so happened, pure fluke out of the thing, that oh, and I missed a couple blocks over there. Okay, but pure fluke that when the designer was tweaking their design after the first round, sort of like version 2, they made the face more like my favorite actor who's ever played Sherlock Holmes, intentionally. And I was like, oh, this is great. So, you know, double score. No arguments there. So yeah, and I'm also at the moment using the, notably to a lot of people, cheaty key of just pasting, but the reason for that is actually because otherwise, even with the cheaty key, as you can see, I'm an incredibly poor speed block placer, because I get them a lot in the wrong places, or I stress out too much about getting them in the wrong places. So I just figured for the purposes of this stream weekend, I wanted to try and focus a little bit on you guys and the chat, and while we do a project, I guess, is really where I'm at. I've been on Dadcraft's servers for a while, and not just this one, but as in, let's see, I'm trying to think, is this my 4th season, I believe, on Dadcraft servers between the two different styles. The first season I played, I joined quite late, and was on the Java server just before the Bedrock server came online. Yeah, tried to do from scratch a very large deerstalker hat as my main base building. Aside from dying an awful lot, yeah, Rodrin, I think it was, kept saving my bacon, so Keith kept saving my bacon over and over with little things, because where I spawned in, I love to build in flatter places, or at least a place that can be relatively easily flattened, and where I spawned in just did not work. So by the time I actually managed to do a little bit of death running and bed hopscotch to get to a base I liked, when I finally found one, I was so far out that this whole idea of getting some diamonds and coming to spawn was just not going to happen. But it was late enough in the season, I thought, okay, well, let's get something built. And I was trying to do a hat. It was based on the dome of one of the more popular free voxel websites that was actually used for an observatory, like an astrological observatory, telescopes and stuff. And that was all right, but, you know, the dome-ish bit was great, but then you try to put ear flaps on this thing, and the peak on the front and the back, it just was not coming together. So I didn't end up actually managing to quite finish that one to my satisfaction before the end of season, and I thought, okay, well, I'll give that theme a break for a while. And so this season, when I knew I needed that feature on the statue, I was like, uh-oh, you know, dread in the pit of your stomach kind of deal. Well, Arch, if you like hiding in a corner, the easiest way to slowly become invisible is to not say anything from underneath your invisibility cloak. I mean, even Harry knows that that's how you're going to get Filch's attention and heartbeat. Besides, I think I owe you one politely from yesterday. Mr. Owl accidentally, well, not accidentally, it was an accident for me, it was an intentional for him, but managed to successfully bait me to actually answer a question about the structure of Canadian politics. And, yeah, that's not something I'd like to cover on stream normally, but it was the whole factual, but then the way our family works, a 5-minute conversation is never a 5-minute conversation. If somebody asks a question that either my husband or I know a lot about, or I think I know a lot about, big difference, but it's still relevant, your answer is going to be 15 plus minutes. So, yeah, that's part of why I'm not great when I'm baited. And I don't think he intended to do it as bait. If he did, I don't want to know that he did. But in any case, there was a comment previously about he asked Arch the very same question, and Arch is like, I don't know, go ask Del. And so he did. So, see, there you go, focused on you. But, yeah. It's more that I don't shut up, right? That's the hard part. That's not necessarily an opinion, it's that. And then the funny part is sometimes I think I know a lot about stuff, and I studied it once upon a time, but the years have obscured the veracity of some of the material in such a way that I'll have these conversations, and then my husband will tell me, yeah, by the way, you're completely wrong about this or this or this, and here's the logical reason why, and if you need proof, I can always send you the websites. I'm like, ooh, embarrassing, because half the time if the answers are to the kids, whether they're mine or Scout's, you never know who's going to say what to whom. That's either embarrassing or going to get them backlash for either being opinionated based on what they heard from me, or actually repeating what I said semi-verbatim, which can... It's not usually opinion related to get me in trouble, but the veracity could be problematic. So, yeah. Okay. There's no secret to it, Arch. How I tend to keep myself more informed is A, kids ask current events questions, and B, my Google Foo ain't that bad anymore. It's not great, but it's not that bad. And so as long as my Google Foo is faster than somebody else's Google Foo, then the bonus is the training on recognizing bias or spin, and to be very aware of confirmation bias. So I have read all kinds of things that most people would say are tinfoil hatter mags that purport to be real material, simply because I want to hear the other side before I make a judgment. So I'm not sure if it's an informed opinion, because informed opinions, to me, to be informed properly, you have to be basing it on facts as opposed to other people's opinions. But then again, the opinion material is not always necessarily primary sources, so I'll take secondary sources on occasion. Anyhow, yeah. Google Foo and bias recognition, I think, are some of the best skills that people can have today, and I was really pleased to hear that my teacher was teaching that to our kids at school. My teacher? I meant, like, my son's teacher in class, is they do have to do some internet-based research for their schooling, and he's teaching them a little bit about what sorts of sites are worth leaning on and what sorts of sites should have their information verified even if you want to start there. So that's really helpful, because I think it's a skill that everybody needs to have. There we hear. You're not necessarily know-it-all-y. You're actually... Fantastic Sherlock Fox has a far better memory for actual fact than I do. And so, he's actually just doing it as a courtesy. And to be perfectly honest, most of the time, when he's telling me that, it's also because I've come on incredibly strong and bullheaded and smashed my way into a conversation not being very polite in the way I was doing things. So I was often wrapped up in that sort of like, yeah, you weren't just budging in, you were budging in with incorrect material. And so I think that's a valid thing that he does that. And I really appreciate that he does that. If you think about it, it's like, I guess you could say, he's backstopping me, but then the backstop was also carrying a bat when necessary, because sometimes I need a clue bat just to let me figure out what's going on in life. But that's the nature of being spoiled in a, I don't mean stereotypically spoiled kind of way. Yes. So we're spoiled in that by having bright kids. The one has no tolerance for the questions of the other, and the questions of the other aren't just simply what about and why. They want to know why to a level of detail where you've basically just been Encyclopedia Britannica for them. I mean, when I was a kid, like, I was a bit like that too. Had better memory then than I do now. And sometimes I actually would enjoy sitting and reading the copy of the World Almanac that had come with my Carmen Sandiego game, because I'd played Where in the World Was Carmen Sandiego, and they used to actually include an almanac of the appropriate year for wherever the game was set, or whenever, sorry, the game was set in the box. And so I actually used to enjoy reading that thing. Like, it was kind of fun. It's in a way, it's like today's National Geographic kids magazines. It's facts, but they're all in short blurbs, and they're not all super snappy with spin. So I like that. Yes, she's very sharp and has very different interests. That's right. I'm just about every kid who has ever, or just about every boy who's ever wanted to play with blowing things up and you know, even if it's never going to hurt anybody, shooting a Nerf dart or pointing a Nerf gun at something or somebody, or pretending somebody's got a weapon. At some point in their life goes through a phase of finding or wanting to hear more about previous major world conflicts like World War II. It's just the way it is. And with Fantastic Sherlock Fox's educational history being partially in that direction, as well as some family history in that direction, then of course you're going to get a longer answer than the guy whose history was like mechanic shop. And there's nothing wrong with mechanic shop, but if your kid's, you know, if you're into cars and your kid's not, then your kid also will know very quickly, don't ask questions about cars, because dad's going to give you the entire world worth of answer. And that's kind of where my daughter's at, is she can't ask or doesn't want to ask questions about that sort of stuff because she really doesn't want that much answer. Hello, Lyric. Any bad flavor in the Bean Boozled game? You know, I've never actually played Bean Boozled. I've seen people who've done it on stream as well, but I've never actually played that game. People used to say that you just need a box of Birdie Bots beans and a multi-sided die, and that's all you needed. But I'll be honest, the more I hear about Bean Boozled, the more I hear that their bad flavors, are worse than the Harry Potter Birdie Bots ones. And I think it's probably because Jelly Belly really wants people to actually just eat the beans. You know, gross your friends out and put a disgusting name on it, but the flavors really aren't that bad. They won't be your favorite. You know, and never eat them after you've actually, well, okay. I was going to say never eat them after you had spaghetti and meat sauce, but that's actually just a personal bias, because there are a lot of situations with spaghetti and beef and tomato based sauce that I've had really bad adventures. It's just little things, and so yeah, it doesn't go with much for me. So Lyric, what have you been up to today? I assume just about everybody here has been really busy on weekends. That's weekends for you, particularly as fall hits. There's either the tail end of summer activities, or there's the preparation for fall activities. You know, it seems to be a never-ending game, never-ending circle. Who do we have in the... Ooh, Lyric, thank you for becoming my biggest fan. I appreciate that immensely. Oh. I'm hearing a lot of clutter and smash in the background, so if it's not loud enough for you guys, please do let me know, and I can always turn that up, but I don't want to deafen anybody either. Ooh. Oh, a pillow! Wow. So, PP Zerk, how far did you belt the other players off with the pillow? Okay, north. Ow! That would have been really bad. This one. Why do I have string in here? Don't need string in here. String. Okay, let's put that on the end for now. It should remind me not to use that other box. First time for you. Oh, well, congratulations. Welcome to the royalty. I really should start making a list out of that one, actually. That would be great. I have to figure out how to do that. Okay, let's see. Paper. Oh, no, paper. Random paper with scribbles. Oh, haha. It's the paper I was looking for that I thought I'd recycled. Okay, excellent. Okay, what do we want? List of growing. List of hill champs. And a big question mark at the end, because I have a couple different ideas how I want to try and implement that, and I don't know what's possible. At least not with my skill. Congrats, milady. Indeed. Alright, so let's loop back up. We're almost... Ooh! Ow! There we go. We're almost at the point. I don't know if you guys can sort of reference shapes in your heads, but looking at the arm, I'm thinking we're not that far off of the beginnings of the pipe for Sherlock's face. That's good to see. Oh, right. While I'm here with my hands empty, I can do this. Let's see, it's this way. Just run over here. Nope, can't. Unfortunately, scan enough of that. So, where I was going to go with that, this is the... Oh, not teleport. Goodness. This is the latest on the carpet thing. So, as I mentioned yesterday, I finished off this side edge. I have triple checked this far left edge. It looks really weird on DreamMap, but the truth is that's the correct thing. So we're starting here on the right hand side, and we're going to be moving over to get the next portion of the picture. So just one quick shot at the references, so you can see really what it is I was actually looking at, but it's actually coming along. There we go. So yeah, we've just got the right hand section with the healing and helping sick people part. And I'm probably going to tweak the color in the leaves, because right now they look rather sickly, and I wouldn't want anybody dealing with herbs, stuff like that. But it's the only place that really had a green, so when I limited the number of colors I was working with, it turned out that those were teal instead of green, so I can fix that later. I just thought I'd show everybody where that was at, because that was a project that we were attempting to work on in other streams, and yeah, counting with Delenn does not amuse myself or anybody else, so that's the project I tend to work on while I'm watching everybody else's streams. When I'm not trying to crochet, that is.
Oh, hello there!
Hello there, Swanky! Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. Oh, and I did, actually, I don't know if I promised it or not. Does anybody who happens to be in chat remember yesterday whether or not I promised a look at, or a brief wander, once again, through the bookshop on the server? Because I mentioned yesterday that people had been talking about making redstone doors, and people were all excited about the new upcoming bookshelf because you could use it for redstone signal stuff. I didn't see the point because I've already done that with the lectern, and I'm not super talented at doing these things, so doing it at all surprised me that somebody else would be excited. Anyway, if I remember, I will put that on my to-do list before we are done. That might be a nice place to end, just on the roof of that one, unless we manage to finish this thing off. Okay, can I make this jump? Nope, apparently not. Okay. Up. Around. Let's see if I can do this without smashing into things. Oh, yay! Okay. And, oh, and that's one of the few places. No wonder. That's one of the few places I don't need a block. And good to see you, by the way. So if it so happens that, that you do manage to find yourself a 9 slot, let me know. Or if it turns out that you want a 10 slot, I can always go long. So just let me know what you need. I can fill her quite easily. So if there's something that you want to tack on, let me know. Otherwise, you know, I have no problem proceeding as though I didn't know you were thinking about fitting on to the end of this. Stream Weekend. Sorry. Squishy, dry, sticky mouth. But yeah, so no pressure to figure that out or anything like that. Just the if you know, but by the time I need to know at the end, then, you know, we will proceed as appropriate given what the circumstances are at that time. Okay. Page up. What have we got now? Boink. It's kind of funny to see it with the little map in the corner and watching this thing grow overhead. Look from the overhead view. One of the things I have thought about, though, is potentially, and there's always this potential idea, so I think things out loud on stream because sometimes they make more sense when I'm not just boring Fantastic Sherlock Fox with them as a sounding board. Even if I get zero response back, sometimes it helps just to clear my head a little bit. But one of the things I have toyed with off and on is potentially doing Java for like day-to-day stuff, and then Bedrock for stream weekends, simply because there are so many times where I'm the only one on the Java server. That's not a complaint. It's more that I'm just horrid at coordinating things like the stream box and stuff like that. Or honestly, the one time where I had another person on the Java server streaming, I think it was right before me, I completely and utterly forgot to try and coordinate with them where we were going to meet up because I just wasn't used to it. And so we ended up just saying, oh yeah, we're pretending like we're on 2 different servers, and yeah, we'll meet you later. And that was as far as it got. So, but it's one of those things too that means that I would actually be guaranteed to have projects for both worlds, simply because I would not be doing the average Joe stuff in between. But then my brain goes, no, you know, you really don't have time for that. Only in that, aside from some late night streaming stuff with you guys, which unfortunately I'm going to need to start cutting back on. I'm finding I'm staying up late rather than being healthy about things. Well, yeah, that's the, hey, where do you want me to meet you? Pardon me? Oh, right, yeah, I forgot we're not even on the same server, so I just got used to assuming we're not. And then, let's see, assuming that we're not on the same server, and then getting surprised when that is the case. And it was, oh, whoops, yeah. It's probably not critical. I just take a quick pause. Fantastic Sherlock Fox has redeemed an eat. So yeah, I probably should do that before I fall off things. Sometimes of late, when I've got the beacon down below and it's giving me whatever you call it, the heart filler thing. I keep wanting to call it rejuvenation. But anyways, which would be nice if it was, but because it's got that, I forget about eating until I'm going, why on earth am I going so slow? Why can't I run? And, well, that would be it. I need to eat. Either that, or I go and fly and I smack into something. That's the end of me, because there's just no food stamina left. I don't know. One of the things I've never tested and don't intend to test, does your food bar level, in that sense, like how you can not run and whatever, does that have any effect on your elytra flight? The reason I ask is because it would be an interesting concept if it doesn't. I probably would frustrate every player under the sun in practicality, but it'd be interesting to know if, you know, you let yourself get so low in energy, so to speak, that you just supposedly can't open your elytra and you like plummet out of the sky. Just one of those one more things people would hate, but it would be an interesting mechanic to explore. It doesn't. Well, I guess in my case, that's probably a good thing to know. So it sounds like elytras are more like gliders, and you just have to remember to open them, or open your chute. That's good to hear. Suppose if I'm going to be flying at some point off camera, I can pull out the scaffolding that was down at the bottom. Now that I'm high enough up. Keep wanting to groove. You get a nice view from up here. I keep thinking, oh, there's so much more space to work with. And the other part goes, yeah, but when are you going to get the time to do, you know, bring in your own mental version of the Carnage Mow crew and just start plowing through the trees. I was quite surprised when I was taking out the trees for this project, just how close together this particular forest spawned. There's an awful lot of foliage. You can see some linked just right down here, where it's linked together enough that simply pulling out the trunk by chopping out the wood would have zero effect on getting the foliage to despawn, so I had to go through and chop a lot of it apart. Ah! One of our newest server members has just popped on for a little bit. So I figured I should just say hello. I'm not the world's handiest when it comes to gear, but I keep thinking that it would be nice to send a couple of welcome packages to receptive individuals. Just, maybe we should be sharing ourselves, or could be sharing idiot-proof directions to them to go find yourself a mailbox, and then that makes it a lot easier for everybody else to figure out how to help you out, because if it's something you're not super keen on, you just leave it in the mailbox. Right? You can tell the original person you didn't want it, but the other thing too is if they want to do something nice anonymously, and you don't really want whatever it was, just leave it there. Right? Nobody says you have to collect it. Says the gal who, like, never checks her mailbox. And then Murphy's Law, the one time I'm like, I haven't checked in months. There's still nothing there. So, that's not a big deal. I'm not about to start putting flyers in people's mailboxes. Though I will admit, the one time I saw Joe do that as a bit of a gag, it was really quite funny. Deja vu, by any chance? Super jump appears to be vertical, but not Delen's version of horizontal. Alright. Up. Out. Yeah, it's coming along. I missed, so I might as well replenish while I'm here. Not that box. This box. Funny thing is, I've had this beehive smoking for like 2 months. And I'm willing to bet you it is totally and utterly empty. Oops. This isn't Please Fly, this is Delen, you're a horrible pilot. Alright. Take a tour around the beacons, and then you might kill enough momentum. And fall off the edge. Well, it's not deaths anyways, I guess. What I think I should do, once I actually successfully land this part, curse splat, there we go, is to probably maybe do this chunk of it until, yeah, probably worth it for me to do this chunk of the build until this part caps off, because I know it's going to end, and then I can go back to the main building rather than back and forth in a single layer. That might be smart. Distraction, distraction. Well, it didn't go red, I guess. Oh, yes. Water Oswin, you are loud this evening. There's a lot to be said, but the whole thing about, like, 10 lines of chat on timers is not so functional. Somehow, after a certain point in time, you get enough commands that are sitting in the queue that they start piling up. Come on. Prevented by easy place mode. Well, yeah. They start piling up, and then you end up with multiple different timed commands, still all insisting on measuring the exact same 10 lines of speech and the exact same number of minutes, even though I've tried really hard not to make them a multiple that, like, there's no common denominators. So they shouldn't all be firing off at the same time, but somehow they do. So I do apologize if you get the textual commercial break. It's one of those things that it's on the radar, it's on the on the plan, but things like getting Stormy not to be Queen of Echoes in Discord was a little higher on figuring that out, and I thought I had it, but did not end up actually having that worked out right. One would think if you tell the Discord feed to only be one piece, and to mute your own mic while you're talking live in Discord, that should be enough to get the person you're listening to only be once, but apparently not. She echoes away, so I don't know. Don't know. You're losing too much chat. You know, if I actually had chat to lose, I'd worry about it. At the moment, Botter Oswin is the only one showing up for me in golden text for a name, so I'm actually just scanning name colors. Which means that if you do by any chance happen to be in the sort of yellowy goldenrod color by mistake, I do apologize. If I miss your message, just say it again, and I will hopefully see it the second time. Wow, Arch, that, oh, I did it again. Kick on the shaders, kick off the shaders. I have to move that button. Okay, there we go. Just off, on. There we go. Lightmatica does not like shaders. Even if you don't have the shaders turned on, if you tell it to reload the shaders, it will mess with your Lightmatic. Arch, that that at least dates you as being aware of the 80s and 90s. I don't know if it was American TV that jingle was from, but yeah, you nearly got me to sing that one out loud. Ah, I see. Yes, I get it. Yeah, I'll be honest. When and if the odd time things get busy-ish around here, more than I can handle chat-wise, I will often go in and turn off the timer for random shouting out people, like the textual shout-out style, not the new Twitch one. Just because those ones seemed to be a large quantity of the sound. And for a while, the maximum amount of text that I could get in there from like a Stream Elements style block shout-out of a bunch of people would be enough to actually scroll all of the chat completely off the screen for me, except for the shout-out. So yeah. That's just because Twitch chat overlay does not have... They have a filter to say who you do want to see, but they don't have a filter to keep out who you don't want to see. Which, to me, seems kind of backwards. I don't know about you, but I'd like to be able to filter out people, particular people and or bots or whatever, as opposed to saying, no, I only want to hear text on my screen from particular people. That means you miss saying hello to people in chat. I don't know whoever thought that was a good idea, but whatever. It's see-through, it lets me not have to stare at my OBS screen as much, and it's all good. If I seem a little distracted, I'm actually trying to think about what I talked about yesterday or didn't. I know part of it was whining about sleeping in the cold, but I just still had that on my mind. Because, of course, woke up this morning and outside it was officially 0, even though it was nice and cozy in the house. And then I was thinking, yeah, this time next week I'll be waking up in the snow, in the cold, at least an hour and a half from home. That stinks. And thinking, okay, well that's fine if it's just me, you know. I know, like I've got gear I can layer and whatever. Then my brain goes, but what about my son? Will he be warm enough? Because he's not great at staying warm at camp, and like a lot of kids, If they're cold, they're miserable. And I'm one of those parents that does not want their kid to be miserable, you know? At least not on the first camp with the new older section. So yeah. So that's the part of where my brain's going is, what do we have, what's the most economical and easy to transport way to do what we need to do? And that's what I'm thinking a lot about. And it's actually funny because I discovered last night I was having a weird dream about this camp where I was getting cold, and I couldn't, and part of my brain goes, but suddenly it decided this isn't real. I don't know what triggered me to it, but it suddenly decided that the dream wasn't real. And as soon as it did, it goes, but you are legit cold, what the heck? And then I woke up and I discovered, yeah, somehow in my tossing and turning, I'd managed to roll over enough that I didn't have any bedding on top of me at all. And our house gets down to, let's see, Celsius would be 18. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. Just give me one sec. Let's figure that out. Okay, we got convert 18. I think it's 18C to F. Is that how that goes? Oh, nope, got that wrong. Oh, I see. Okay. Convert 18C. Okay, so that was like a 60, gets down to like 64 at night. Which I find a little cold without any blankets. So, yeah. And by the way, I'm not doing things on here with the commands myself just to show off or anything like that.
Hello?
It's more that I've got them, and it's easier for me sometimes just to do it rather than to explain and ask one of the fine people in chat to do it. And that's not a mod command, by the way. If there's anything that I've said that seems to be a distance or a volume, like, I don't know, fluid ounces and milliliters is not one I talk about a whole lot, but kilometers per hour, miles, that kind of thing. That's something you guys can all check too, so you don't actually have to be figuring out what it's like. It's not limited to the mods, is what I'm trying to say. Oh wait, wrong game. Whoops! I sunk your battleship. Something in my head has me thinking of Ralph Wiggum, except saying like, "You bet my Wookiee." And then, of course, everybody degrades and devolves into other Ralph Wiggum comments. My crayon tastes funny. And yes, I cannot do very good impressions, but hey, I do them anyway. Because what? They're fun. Besides, could be worse. The earworm of the day yesterday for me was, like the one I couldn't seem to get rid of, was Robin Williams doing a bit of a riff improv for Good Morning Vietnam except his riff was, I'm not going to make the quote because it was not very polite.
Hello there.
Or anything like that. It just was not very nice. But it was his riff to the Wizard of Oz Lollipop Guild song. And if you know what I'm talking about, great. But otherwise, the point being is I just could not get that out of my head, which is sort of weird. Hello there. Tastes like burning. Hey, you choose me? Yeah, of course. Exactly. But there aren't very many that I can even really make a whole lot of, or do a whole lot of impressions of in any shape. Those are probably about it. I think I've got one voice. That's actually not that far off from the one I used to use in my bad versions of doing impressions of the Pigglesworth. Or even worse yet, doing impressions of Dadcraft doing impressions of the Pigglesworth. So, yeah.
Hey, you guys want to hear something? That depends on what it is.
What was I talking about? Oh, I was mentioning at lunch, I don't remember what brought it up, but it somehow got reminded of, I think it was Futurama. Fantastic Sherlock Fox will know what I'm talking about here. But we were talking about aliens and cookbooks, and a particular clip from from that show, referencing how things aren't always as they appear. And the aliens were trying to look at a cookbook, and it kept going back and forth in what the cookbook's title was, and something along the lines of like how to cook, and then it became how to cook humans, and then it became how to cook for humans, and after that it became how to cook 40 humans, and it was ridiculous, but for some reason that one occurred to me at lunch, so I had to explain it to the kids, and my daughter, just to make sure she understood, basically verbatim repeated the whole thing, and I felt like saying, yep, that's what I said, except that would have really put her off, so I didn't. So, I mean, it's things like that. Like, sometimes we get really fun little nuggets of sound clips, and I really like it when people are able to put sound clips on their streams and stuff, and I've got a few, you know, like they're Monty Python ones, or actually it's mostly Monty Python ones, and then I've got a couple from Land Before Time, but I don't have a whole lot of creativity and or ideas right now for new ones to keep it switched up and keep it fresh and interesting. And so if anybody happens to come up with one, not that they have to right now on the spot or anything silly like that, but I'm just saying if things happen over time, you go, oh hey, this would have been a great opportunity for such and such sound clip, feel free to send that suggestion to me outside the stream or even in the stream, and I'll see if I can, you know, review it, see if it really does fit the feel. I don't know how to explain that yet to people, what the vibe is, but if it does, then I can see about getting that in there and finding alternate ways of doing that, because we're going to end up with like a what do you call it, a points redemption list, you know, longer than your arm if I'm not careful. So want to keep things interesting and fresh and figure out what to pull out and get rid of sometimes. The other thing I'm doing is still trying to figure out, you know, these weekends work really well, but I'm still trying to figure out a bit more of a who I am thing, because I'm looking at what are my favorite pieces about what I do, and sometimes it's the variety, but that's great and all. If the person says, what color do you want your wall painted, and you really like rainbows, you can't just say, I want rainbow, because in all honesty, that just doesn't work as a wall color. Page up. Oh, okay, so we're just about done the top of this pipe. Yeah, so it doesn't work to have, no, rainbow. They're like, no, what color do you want? Rainbow. No, that doesn't work. Try again. That's the reality of streaming, so it's all good. I need some other topic today, just cause. Oh, okay, there's the bowl of the pipe. Let's go out, and we're working on the stem. I don't even know what I'm doing there. Okay, reach down. Down, 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 down. Oh, we're almost there. And down, down, down to the original chain of... Oh, never mind. Goodness. Reach down. That's interesting. Okay. Oh, Facepalm. So, what was I doing? I was squatting. This is why I couldn't get the level to work properly. Shift page down does nothing. Are we surprised? Probably not. Page up. There we go. My dad was a magician by trade, as in, like, you know, birthday parties and stuff. And so when I was saying down, 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 it reminds me of the pattern he used to use for one of his illusions called the linking rings. And they are just that, linking rings. About depending on the model of the rings, it's usually about an 8 to 10 inch ring. That, like, the rings link together, and in the latter part of the act, there's a part where you put, oh come on, where you put the rings together in various different patterns, so like a globe shape and so on and so forth, and it starts with a chain of 4, and then it moves to 2 between 2, and there's a cloverleaf pattern, or a globe after that, I think, and then a cloverleaf pattern, and then something else, and then you grab one of the rings, and it comes down from the top and you just move it on down. And so as I was talking about the pattern here, you know, page up, page down, whatever, my brain was thinking of my dad used to take the rings. I don't even have a I used to see his rings, and then there'd be 4 together, and he'd take one of the rings off the top, or at the top edge that's linked all together, and you'd be going down, 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 and there we are returning the original chain of 4. And it's just one of those things that I get stuck in my head because I've heard it thousands of times. So yeah, it feels kind of funny to think of that. Oop, nope, no more stem? Okay. No more stem. Alright, so let's go back down to... See, down, down, down. Oh boy, down, down, down. Peeling back the layers. Wow, I have lots of potential sleepers. Nice. Ow. So as long as I'm not stupid and disrespectful, then I should be able to hopefully get through the rest of this without having to actually sleep, which is a bonus for us. Which means we might actually get this done today. That would be nice. Actually complete a project in one stream. Ooh. So what I had been doing prior to the 3D printing trick, as I'm going to call it, was that the last one I did with large statues, we used Tridar had a step-by-step video talking about what he'd actually done in another world that you could download. So he had basically built the statue and then, I'm assuming, basically copy-pasted it and then added the next layer on, or copy-pasted the whole statue and then chopped off a layer and so on and so forth. Like, I mean, one at a time. But anyways, so that's what it is. I kept referring to the other statues, like his work. And that's how I built the Egyptian statues here. For part of the church, I used reference photographs from real life, which I think is probably one of my coolest ones. The boat's been done the same way, but some of the builds that I've done before I built them here were done in creative based off of those types of pieces, I guess, suggestions. I don't know. Inspirations. And so this one was refreshingly different because what I think I'm probably going to do from here on for tutorial stuff for some cases, unless it's something that I can watch the tutorial and then go, oh yeah, I know how to do that. It's in my head and off we go. I'm really confused. What did I drop the ball on seeing? Oh, convert 77 Fahrenheit. Yes, I see. Skullorama. Okay. I was like, what did Arch do last? That actually... Gotcha. Okay, so, where was I here? So what I probably will do from here on in then is I'm finding my flow feels better to me. And that sounds all me, because I mean, I need you guys to... This stream wouldn't be even worth doing if it wasn't for the fact that you guys exist. So thank you very much for existing, if that makes any sense. But I think I like the flow better when I can spend some time mostly catching your comments. Apparently I missed the one that, or the stuff behind why Arch was referenced under Skullorama. But I think I like the chat, like when there's chat, I like being able to respond to it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make there be more chat, that's not the point. But I just like the fact that I can actually do that and keep up a relatively high pace. So future items that have tutorials, I'll probably try and do the tutorial in creative off stream and then convert it into a Lightmatic just so that I can go a little quicker with it. Besides, some of the things that I use a tutorial for are actually so rote, it's just that I couldn't remember how to do it. That's really all it was. And some things I try to wing that I think I know how to do, yeah, I crosswires. example in point is the fish farm that we've repeatedly been passing and or seeing as we go over on the north side. And the fish farm does produce what's necessary. I haven't bothered AFKing there. I just get whatever happens to be there when it happens to be loaded, and that's actually doing just fine right now. I probably should spend more time glassing in more of the riverbed, but I just can't really. I figure if I do that, then other things I said I'm going to get to will never happen, so yeah. I'm liking this bust. Oh, rough. Poor Phoenix experienced kinetic energy. But I'm liking the bust well enough so far that I think I'll do a second one. I have to grab the pattern for that. Someone has done a lovely 3D printable bust of the Agatha Christie character, Hercule Poirot. And although I've already done 2 references to that character already, the statues and boat and the train, I'm actually liking the look of this bust enough. I think that'd be a really fun one to include in here. But that one, I need to do some mining for, because I think, just for fun, I'd like to make that one out of waxed copper, just so that it stays all shiny coppery. Then I can make the joke that I've got a waxwork museum, right? Ta-dum. Actually, I had a nightmare about doing these things not too long ago, and in my nightmare, as weird as it was, for some reason I had a deadline that I actually had to meet of finishing a certain number of statues, but they all had to be variations on actresses who'd played the character of Miss Marple by Agatha Christie, which is just, I don't know, odd. Ooh, ow. I think it's probably because we lost Angela Lansbury recently, and maybe that's why I was thinking about that. Otherwise, I can't seem to figure out a reason why I would have been thinking about that. And in case anyone's curious, based on the conversation thus far, no, I have not found a 3D printable bust of Angela Lansbury inexpensively available yet. Though I would not be above doing such a thing. But yeah. Another one, I mean, you guys are well aware, to the point of ad nausea, that I'm a Harry Potter fan. You know. Ross takes the cake on that, but I'm quite a fan of it as well. And people said, why not make next year's base all Harry Potter themed? 2 problems with that, and it's not that I can't. It's that, 1, isn't that overdone? I mean, I guess medieval is too, but second is the problem with doing something that I'm that much of a fan of is because we've had so many visual opportunities to see what parts of that Harry Potter world and Fantastic Beasts world look like, then I'd be too picky, and things would. Sorry. Poor Phoenix got pegged by a skeleton. So I still sort of hear that. Oh. Well, you can. That's no lane, but. So yeah, that's really what it is. I would be too fussy about how things are. I mean, looking around my room where I'm streaming from right now, you know, one example of that is I've got no less than 3 different versions of the Hogwarts crest. Just glancing around, I've got 2 Ravenclaws that are very different from each other, and so on and so forth. So I could do carpet art for weeks just on house crests. Like, it's that sort of thing, and because I'd be picky about it. Which one's the right one? Well, they all are, technically. Because all the ones that are worth their salt all fit the basic descriptions that were in the original books. But I mean, it's also one of those topics du jour, themes du jour, which is great. You know, I'll make no bones about it. It's great, but individuality, is something to go for, or something that's not super hot makes it a little different. Like, most people don't get the references in my base. I mean, plenty of people have asked me, even yesterday alone, who and what are you building? You build it, you get off to a really far distance angle just so that they can probably see what it is, and they still go, nope, don't get it, who's that? And that's fine. I don't mind, right? I'd rather answer that kind of question than go the other direction and be like, well, I mean, there's plenty of people have joked, another one, Disney reference for you. If any of you have seen Tangled, sort of their Rapunzel version, one of our major characters, Flynn Rider, complains about the people who are doing his wanted posters because they never get his nose right. And that's the sort of thing that I would be picky about. So, some say, well, if you're picky about it, stay away. Ah, that's true. But if I'm picky about something that's not popular, then nobody knows if I'm right or I'm wrong. The only person I really have to satisfy is me, and have fun doing it. Right? I prefer to satisfy you guys too, but if it's not something that appeals to me, then the experience becomes miserable. So, as plenty of people have experienced before, if you're doing something that's incredibly miserable, it's going to come through in the way you present yourself, and the way you present your voice, and how you feel about it. And yeah. And one thing I have in spades is the ability to be sour like a grapefruit. So we just need to not awaken that particular dragon. Alright. So you can start to see we're getting closer to the top of the pipe, which means that we're not too far from a chin. We just add brown sugar and all grapefruit sourness disappears. Does that also extend to a Mary Poppins reference there? With a spoonful of sugar? There's a really random, weird did you know Mary Poppins related, just tangent low. I was watching old interviews with old Disney people. I guess maybe not necessarily old interviews. But apparently, Dick Van Dyke, so the guy who just about everybody knows from Mary Poppins, and he played 2 roles in it, in the original Mary Poppins, let me correct that, is at least 95. He was 95 in the interview, and I think the interview might be a year old. He still is working. Apparently during COVID, he was actually doing animation at home on his computer and releasing them. And he's got a live band fronted by his wife, and they do performances. And I just thought that was kind of funky because he even got to perform with his band in front of Barack Obama when he was U.S. president. And I thought that was kind of funky. And the guy was, in his 90s doing that. Most of the time I don't want to hear, senior-aged voices, but I'll make an exception for his. But it was just kind of interesting, one of those things. I'm like, don't people know how to retire? And he goes, like, he got asked, what would he do if he retired? And he says, I don't know. I don't want to retire. I don't know how, because it's all he's ever done for his career is entertain people. So he doesn't really know how to stop, and doesn't want to stop. No, that's true. That's true. The only one we know that's performed for an American president, but you're right, that's not the only one we know. Though I would debate that his is a rocking band, but that's more of a genre choice than anything else. Oh gosh. Grandfather-in-law, I guess, is another one like that. He just won't stop. And it's not as a, hey, you should. It's more, some people just have, I don't know, something about life they're just not done with, and it's not done with them, and great to hear it. You know, when you say they're more country, yeah. And the little I've heard, they're more country of the variety that most people don't hear much anymore. How did you get up there? Weird. Yeah, I tend to know a lot of entertainers. And people who are into weird things at older ages. I mean, my dad's 76 now? And he still weight trains, like lifts weights. And we're not talking, you know, the guy that does 5-pound dumbbells. No, he's the guy who's got, like, you know, 400-pound Olympic plates for his leg press in the basement. It's just odd. It's odd. Like, when he eventually, at some point, passes on, as everybody does, I already pity my mother for having to try to figure out what to do or how to get rid of these things, because they're huge. Absolutely huge. Oh yes, the, you know, Fantastic Sherlock Fox's grandfather, he and his partner play in the same band. And they were miserable during the lockdown because they couldn't perform with their band. Yeah. Well, it's funny, that doesn't necessarily sound good when you say, you know, second wife or third partner or whatever, but it's actually because when you get to be a ripe old age, sometimes you outlive your partner. That's the way it goes. And so when that happens, and you're just keeping on trucking on, well, you may want a new partner. Anyway, not that I would know any of his songs personally. Haven't particularly enjoyed the CDs that I was given, but that's just because his music style and mine are different, that's all. But yeah, I was crocheting this afternoon listening to piano music and thinking, you know, I miss piano music. I miss doing piano just for fun. But they're expensive. And once you've had a real one, it's hard to find an electronic that you're happy with. I'd be curious though. I would just about be... Actually, you know what? I probably would make an actual bet with you, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, that I would not know a single one of the people who would attend his band who I would be ever likely to find out had sat down in front of a computer and played Minecraft. Rather specifically. The thing is, there's no point in making that bet because since you're my better half, it'd be all coming to the same pool anyways. But yeah, I miss making music. I don't do it as much as I used to. Don't do it as much as I should. I actually think that I fairly soon should inspect the guitars in the house just to make sure that we don't have wood damage from the house being dry. Because I know it's been years, plural, since I last bothered soaking the humidifier block that lives in my guitar case. But it's not like I had any named guitars anyways, it's just more that if they get too dry, you know, A, they might crack, and B, they'll just sound bad. You know? When things warp out uncontrollably, they just sound bad. And besides, music is kind of a skill that I think is really fun because it can stick with you forever. You can still have it, even if you're, you know, beyond a point where your body can do things like play soccer. Music still sticks with you. Unfortunately, that doesn't always... It's not a hereditary thing. Particularly not in our house. I like music, my kids do not. Now, to some extent, that's just because they have a rather unique old-school music teacher. And that doesn't go well with today's expectations of teaching technique. So the kids don't thrive under this particular teacher, and therefore don't want to partake in music activities that I absolutely loved as a kid, and that's fine, you know, like, I'll let them be their own kid and do their own thing, but it's like, aw, man, well, I guess I'm not going to, you know, choir practices, or I will not be band mom, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, at the moment, I'm scouting mom, and technically soccer mom, although usually that's Fantastic Sherlock Fox being soccer dad. And, people have different things, right? I will say one of the things I like better about the whole soccer mom thing, or the soccer parent thing. Now, we're not soccer mom in the that whole hockey parent type of, oh my goodness, stay away from them, they're trouble type of parent thing, or we yell at the kids while they play, usually. But the thing I like about it is we don't, when one gets to be volunteering to be a soccer roadie in ways, it just usually means at this point a bag of practice balls. Sometimes a gym bag that has like t-shirts and extra socks and stuff in it at this level. It's not moving heavy equipment like xylophones and other drum sets and so forth. It's just, you know, so I have respect for the band dad stuff that Dadcraft's been doing. And sometimes mild envy too, actually. On the other hand, I kind of blame my parents for that. And not in a nasty way, but as in my mom filled me full of Disney flicks, and one of them was Music Man as a kid. And so, of course, in that one, there's, you know, the characters of the parents who are all, their kids are dreadful, in spite of what the Music Man character promised he was going to teach them. They would sound fantastic, and he'd keep them out of the trouble at the pool halls and stuff. And he basically just wanted to bilk them out of their money by claiming he was selling uniforms and claiming he was selling instruments and whatever. But then there's that bit where, no matter how horrible the kids were, they did get instruments. And they had this thing where the way they filmed it at the end. I would say spoilers, but honestly, this movie is so already old. It's far older than me, so that if you haven't seen it by now, you're probably not going to, and that's fine. But anyway, toward the end of the flick, they have the main character's gotten arrested for his scam, and somebody's trying to say, you know, on his behalf, he's not that bad. Look, it really did work. And the parents who are wanting to press charges start changing their tune when they look over their shoulder, and it's like, oh, look, it's little Billy, he's doing whatever, and oh, look, it's so-and-so. And the reality they show you at first, of course, is the kids are terrible. Like, they sound completely out of tune, nobody really knows how to play anything. And then Disney magic and all that shows you sort of the supposed what the parents are seeing, and in their head, you know, Billy looks really smart in his band uniform, and he's playing perfectly in tune, and Jimmy's perfectly in beat with his drum, and so on and so forth. And that's the happy little ending to the flick, is that everybody's seeing what they really actually did want to see, and so in essence they got what they wanted, so the town decides to drop charges against the guy. Which is fantastic, but it's just kind of funny because somehow my brain goes, ooh, I'd like that opportunity. And it didn't happen. But, you know, I got the opportunity when the kids were little to look at what's generally known as clump soccer. When your kids are like 3 and 4, and it's like, hey, look, there's Sheep Queen on the field, and she and Jenny are both holding hands, but they're headed toward the ball for all they're worth, you know, like that kind of thing. And then everybody goes, oh, when the kid tries to kick it, misses entirely, and overbalances and ends up square on their butt. So, I mean, I got that in the soccer sense. It just wasn't the musical sense that I'd sort of daydreamed of as a kid, that one day I'd be the parent in that role. You know, and things change, right? And then there's other parents for whom they don't want any of that. And their kid just doesn't have the personality where you could even remotely dream of something like that, and that's probably a good thing. But those are the ones that, you know, end up with, like in Scouts, they're the kids that end up with the knife skills, or they're the ones that are fantastic at, say, campfire cooking, or whatever all else. So, I mean, everybody's different. And sometimes I actually have to verbally tell myself that, so that I don't try to make kids into stuff they're not. Phoenix really is ticking off those death type boxes. Alrighty, let's see how are we doing here. Page up. So, can I see what we've got so far? Oh, we're still not at the chin yet. But at least we've got something that looks more Ichabod Crane headless. That works great. Headless Horseman. Well, Headless Smoking Man, I guess. I actually didn't take the time. It had occurred to me to take the pipe out of the situation because I don't support smoking. But it's so iconic that it makes the character much harder to recognize as a statue if I did do that. I mean, for pity's sake, even the Sesame Street character, I can't even remember what they called him, Sherlock Hemlock, I think, has the calabash pipe in some of the earlier episodes of his work on Sesame Street. I have this really weird feeling I missed something. I was talking to somebody in another Discord, and they were mentioning, like we were talking something not along these lines, but somebody apologized for their wordiness, which is unusual because it's usually me doing that, but somebody apologized for their wordiness, and someone else had a really weird way of looking at it. They said, might as well get the words in now, because you never know when you're going to want the peace and quiet later, and so you're sort of storing up the positive vibes. I thought that was initially weird when I heard it, but I guess their concept was, if we're chatterboxes now, then by the time we're old and gray, and we actually want the silence, then it'll be nice because we've already talked a lot, I guess. It was just weird. It sounded good in my head at the time, and now that it's repeated, it sounds a little ridiculous. Alright. Just need to get a quick stretch. Ooh, nice crack there. The keyboard itself is getting needs a bit of a cleaning, I think. Maybe, I don't know. My shift key, it's mildly amusing, but my shift key right now says FT. There's none of the rest of that on there. So I've been kind of curious. What other sorts of hobbies do you guys have? Like, for example, pardon me, I'm sorry. We know some are into music. We know some are into other types of games. But if you weren't gaming, what other types of things would you be into? I'm not saying everybody needs a hobby. Sometimes hobby is just reading. I heard somebody once tell me that their hobby was meditating. I said, oh, really? What style do you do? Not that I knew a whole lot about it, but then they blushed and embarrassed, said, well, I call it meditating, but really it's just more sitting and being quiet because my kids don't stop talking. And their kids really are chatterboxes, so it fit, but it was just funny at the time. Art. Ooh, yes. Now, of late, what is your favorite type of art to do, Benson? I'm really curious. And I would say most appealing for you to do, not necessarily the thing you've done most recently. Art's one of those things I do dabble in occasionally and am incredibly dreadful at, so I'm always impressed by those that have skill, and Benson is definitely one of those in the skill category. Oh, we're getting ahead. Haha, but I'm just. That was it. Okay, 25 minutes-ish. Digital right now. Now, are we talking more of a drawing style, more of a painting style, photo composition, I like collage? And for artists and or anybody who's seen them, what do you guys think of some of the AI art coming out right now? I'd say one of the more popular one of the more popular sources is that DALL-E. Drawing and then coloring. Okay, so sort of like a colored pen and ink sketches. Nice. More from reading. Yeah. I am terrible at any of those parts. I'm the kid. This is gonna sound dumb. I'm the grown-up version of the kid who like won the coloring contest for a Disney book by scrambling through my pencil crayons to get the exact right color of the ink that was used on the cover of one of the Disney storybooks. For like, they gave us a cover of black and white of a cover of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and what did I go do? Find the exact same movie poster that had been used as the cover and color that to win the contest. I mean, the skill was there. I was good at being in the lines, for given the age and stuff. But I'm that kid. You know? I'm not quite the Harry Chapin kid, but pretty close. If you guys aren't sure what I'm familiar with, or referring to here, there's a song, I think he calls it Flowers Are Red. Basically, there's a kid who's all creative and rainbow colors and stuff, and he gets instructed he has to draw flowers in art class at school, and he starts drawing all kinds of tulips and, you know, whatever shape and whatever color. I don't think he actually mentioned shape, but colors all over the place. And he doesn't even stick to like green stems, is the implication in the song. They're all kinds of whatever colors. And the teacher takes him aside and gets him in hot water and tells him, nope, flowers are green and red. Period. That's it. And he starts doing all kinds of colors, and he eventually gets sent home. And I guess he basically gets told that you got to do it the green and red way, and gets it more or less drilled into him that that's the way flowers are. So they broke his spirit, which sucks. So he, forevermore after that, drew flowers in green and red. Period. That's it. Little straight rows of green and red. Like his parents even got him to another school with another teacher who was more open-minded, and the whole class was doing flowers and all kinds of colors, and his were just green and red rows. That was it. And I think the chorus on that one's like, flowers are red, young man, and leaves are green. There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen. And, oh. Okay, well, now I've found one thing I have to fix pronto. Let's just do this while we're here. And go H. Ow! Straight into the wall. Yeek. No! Oh. Oh, for the love of Murgatroyd, go away. What am I trying to do? Well, I found my, Okay, well, let's just fix this one up. That was too bad. I didn't know that you were still doing more art. That's awesome. Oh, for... You want to come visit? Yeah, problems. It's one thing to not be up the top. Yeah, we're right up here. No go. Ah. Oh, that'll do. What else we got? Okay, that's dark. That's dark. Well, I guess I found the damage. Oh, you are mean, Arch. You are classically mean, man. Okay. Oops, let's get this one and that one. Okay. There. Let's light that up. Oh, creepers. Fun! You can go away. Wow. I guess I built a cave. That was not quite what I was hoping for. But now I can see you better. Well, that'll do. There's like a nook or a cranny or something in there. Boop. There we go. Close enough. Okay. Guess I have to make sure I clean up after myself. It's weird. I've got a mini HUD on, is how I'm getting these numbers showing the light levels and stuff. But it's funny because I'm looking at this going, okay, obviously I have a problem outside, but some of these blocks, I'm going, why is there a red issue? Because they're like in between the layers of block. That makes no sense. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. 8 noises. Okay. Oh, do I have to? I don't want to climb up there. I don't want to crash in the wall over, up there. Oh well. Let's crash in the wall over here then. I hear you. I do not see you, but I hear you. That's concerning. Well, it should hopefully keep some of the interior going for a while. Take this out. I guess it's a good thing I fell in. Cruelly creative. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Okay, Curious Benson. No problem. I'm just... Halloween District, I'm assuming, is the one on the Bedrock server. Am I right? That's the best way of putting it. Because as far as I know, although I could be completely out of touch, I didn't think there was one on the Java server. This is going to be fun when I get inside the head. A lot of zeros. Boink. Okay. Oops, that's not what I want. So I'm definitely have to figure out how to light this up on the outside. That'll be an interesting challenge. Hopefully for another day, we'll see. Only quarter 2. Can we get this top part finished, the shape, in 15 minutes? Not lit up, guaranteed. But shape, maybe. We'll see. If I don't fall in 30,000 times, that might help. Bedrock, yeah, okay. I'm assuming that's related to the district around the Halloween house, or haunted house that Stormy was working on. I'll be honest, I'm not one much for decorations. It sounds funny, but I mean it. Like, I like Halloween and all. But it's one of those things that it just, whether it be seasonal Halloween stuff or whether it be other seasons, for some reason decoration in games never really got me. Like, I saw someone on a, not a stream, but a video, who'd done a really bang-up, amazing job of a seasonal decoration set. Oh, I see what it's doing. Okay. A seasonal decoration set for Valheim. And like they actually did a pretty good job, or a bang-up job, I guess. But I just never really saw the point. Like, it was a lot of effort for a season. And the funny bit is when it's like not a permanent world. I just didn't see it. Nothing wrong with that. It's just there's nothing wrong with people doing it. Okay, what am I doing here? This one up. Oh, it's not the random junk box. This is the random junk box. Yes, well, see, that's the thing. I find ones I like Fantastic Sherlock Fox, and then I just go with those forevermore. Or I'll find additions to that, but then part of it is just because the decorations I find are usually really cheesy intentionally. That plays into the whole not scaring kids business. Because I was the kid that was scared, I suppose. I'm not really sure. It does, you know, like... Oh, sorry. That came across really wrong. It's not meant to bash those projects. I do find people do a really, really good job with them. I guess maybe what I'm more getting at is I like the themes. I like the work people do. It's the deadlines bit that people feel pressured for, or that if some games it just screams out to have that. So yeah, something wrong with me in that sense. I went down there and didn't even get blocks. I heard what I did not want to hear. Yeah, there's a skeleton right there. There we go. Oh, can't jump over ledges. You and Travolta have the worst chin. All right. But I will definitely have to either ask a fellow bedrocker for a tour, or technically I've got the permissions, or at least I did, after the last reset, reobtain the permissions for going and checking it out myself, so I really should probably put that on my to-do list at some point. There's so many things on the to-do list, I can guarantee I'll never get to all of them, but sometimes it's fun to have fun things on the to-do list. Okay. I think maybe I think part of the reason that places like that never really appealed to me is because every year they're well done. You know, don't get me wrong. But to some extent, it's always the same thing. But I mean, I guess maybe there is a lot positive to be said for predictability in terms of knowing what you're getting into, because I also fall in the category of people who don't necessarily appreciate having or getting themselves scared by not knowing and then getting surprised. So the whole thing goes both ways. I'll definitely have to come and check out how that spooky area is, sorry, that Halloween celebration theme area, fall, I don't know, I can't find the right terms, but I'll have to check out how it looks, because it's always great to see the creativity. Maybe somebody will post pictures, or I'll be able to actually catch either a live stream or a VOD for somebody who's doing a tour of it when it's all complete. That would be lovely. Because, yeah, I think I just stepped in it. Another one of my fortes. Any case, thank you very much for the warning, Minx. I do appreciate that. I'm assuming that you've either A, made it hairier, or B, gave it more joint bending than the ones that we find in game. I'm getting better at the ones in game. I still can't handle being swarmed by them, and I always want to see them coming at me. Dropping on top of me is not appreciated, but getting less bothered by some of the fake built ones. So I appreciate the warning, and thank you very much for that. Yep, it's just blocks, really, exactly. It's just blocks. I think I told you my Mo Ben story. Long story made short. I was using an alternate texture pack in one of... Oh, it's really dark down there. It's like, that'll be the one square that'll cause so many headaches. But I was using an alternate texture pack, and they had some very different looks for the various creatures, you know. And you guys are aware, like, alternate texture packs sometimes because things like Enderman have dust on them and so on. It's kind of fun. Anyway, so they had some rather unique looking characters, and then you added the Mo Ben's add-on to give them extra joints. And then there was one that I can't remember what it was they were doing, but they were giving alternate animation, like a different add-on, so it was like a whole pack of changes that way. And most of the characters were fine. Zombies I didn't mind, skeletons I didn't mind, but whatever it was they did to the spiders and the way the animation was and the way that they behaved, and then adding the extra bends with this new texture, wow. It didn't take me long to go in, shut off the Mo Bens, and then promptly follow it up with an, at the time, not out-of-date edition of the Arachnophobia mod. Which sadly does not exist anymore. It's too bad, but... I have a general mob farm, but I will be frank, I had people come in and fix it for me when I oopsed and tried to take one video's suggestion that the water should all be going different, like the redstone was sort of backwards to what I wanted. And I had to have someone else who could fly at the time, because at that point I couldn't. Like, didn't have Elytra and had never tried it and all that jazz. So I had someone else come and fix it for me, because, yeah, I couldn't handle it. I got in there and the spiders approached me, and that was that. I'm like, nope, I'm out. Because, of course, not flying, I fell, went kersplat, didn't lose everything, but it was just, yeah. Nope, sorry, people. Which is embarrassing, to say the least, I think. So, working on that one. I mean, it's a game, right? And why do they put spiders in? Because they're meant to frighten you. You know? So, in other words, game makers, score! Target achieved. And the blind spider will also have no string for you. He's just an escaped version of the Seinfeld Soup Nazi spider. Probably a pet. Escaped pet from the Seinfeld Soup Nazi. There you go. Okay, I will go for a snooze, or else we're gonna have more problems. This thing is getting a little bit big to fly around. Go. No. So for those of you who were paying attention to the scheduling, we do not actually have someone following me. So at that time, I will either find a fellow Minecrafter to raid into, or we will, well, I'll find a fellow Minecrafter to raid into, but I'll guarantee you that. But at one point, Swanky was looking at trying to stream, so if he and I are not able to coordinate anything, which it sounds at this point like that is not going to happen, just do be sort of alert for that, and if he does go live, I would recommend hopping back on if you can, and giving him your support. He's a fantastic fellow parent streamer, as are actually quite a number in DC's community. Everything from college students to parents to teenagers to everything in between. and I really like Spanky's style, so I want to give him all the props I can. But yeah, so we don't actually have anybody after. I will, as I said, I'll be finding someone to raid to at that point, but I was really hoping to get this done. So if we're super close and there's nobody behind me, then I might just push it through, because we are. I mean, you can start to see down inside his head that floaty bit that I did at the back is actually the bottom edge of the deerstalker hat, so you can get a rough idea just how close to the end we are. We'll age up. But yeah, I won't be, dragging you guys around for all of the lighting and stuff like that. I can do that off camera.
Look, I've got an idea.
We're looking. Well, if you're looking into the Mind Palace, it's full of creepers and zombies and skeletons. There's definitely skeletons in this Holmes' closet. And it's dusty in there. If anyone has any good suggestions for fun ways to light this up, I'm all ears. I've never lit up something like this from the outside before. Inside, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Outside, it's a little more critical. Hoping for some subtle lighting. But, I mean, I could always swap out some blocks with, lanterns and then cover it back over, but that's going to be pretty obvious. So, we'll have to see what we can do. Let's see, what do I got in here? That one? Yeah, that'll do. I keep trying to get Fantastic Sherlock Fox back into playing Minecraft, but truthfully, he's just got a lot on his plate, and he's the one that is managing everything. I suspect we are probably sitting the kids down to dinner within the next 15 minutes or so, which means then that I would not be surprised if I start hearing floor creaks and stuff above my head as everybody up there starts winding down. Ho ho! Here's the bridge of his nose. I think. Yeah, it's the bridge of Sherlock Holmes' nose. Oh, right. But can she finish? I don't know. We're not Bob the Builder. Or Brenda the Builder, or anything other similar to that. Just chuckling thinking about yesterday, I raided into the always awesome Stormy, huge Stormy Owl, who raided us today, and yeah, something that'd be cool. Well, I'll definitely take a look into that Sherlock box. But I raided into Stormy, and I was just chuckling thinking about how she spent a valuable few minutes in her stream asking about colors and color combinations and textures for trapdoors for the haunted house, and here I am just placing stone. It's just funny. I mean, the purpose is totally different. It's not like I'm going to be able to sit back and go Mount Rushmore, eat your heart out, because that's totally not happening. But it's fun nonetheless, right? And totally different purpose. Don't head south, head north. See, I'm directionally challenged even when standing on the top of a statue. Crazy. Can I get up here? Look. That one doesn't belong here. I just really would like to complete something during stream. Well, it's actually, I looked into that Fantastic Sherlock Fox, and unfortunately, the Sherlock Hound, who looks like a fox, is unfortunately only a TV series character. So it's one of those so close and yet so far elements. So while I'm using a lot of TV series influences, it's for things that were definitely books first. Though I am, in a similar note, though, looking towards whether or not to do, at some point, a reference to Basil of Baker Street, the sort of Sherlock Holmes mouse, by, I believe it's Eve Titus. I'll have to take a look. It's just like almost arm's reach. But so even though The Great Mouse Detective, which was based on those books, even though that was definitely a film, I can use suggestions from that one or imagery as inspiration because in my limited, or in my limitations that I'm giving myself here, I can use those because it was a book that it was based on initially. I mean, I guess technically I could do Sherlock Hound in that sense, but figured I'd go with more of the main character. A similar argument could easily be made for the cartoon series Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, where Holmes is a human, albeit one that was like cryo sleep or whatever, and then Watson is, I think he's, what's the word? I want to say bionic, that's not the word I'm looking for. Cyborg, I think? So he's not fully human and actually in the drawings looks half robotic. So yeah. Funny things that happen overseas. I mean, one could argue technically. Now, I'm not going to probably go with this idea, but when I said I wanted to limit to mystery books and mystery characters as sort of my basic theme this year, one could and probably has argued that, I guess, from a certain point of view, things like the Harry Potter series could be considered mysteries. You know, who stole the red rock from the bank cookie jar? Kind of deal. But that's a bit far-fetched. And besides, the whole series is not mysteries, only the first few. Later on it gets to be much more, or just as an out-and-out adventure battle kind of thing. But I guess in your case, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, I'd be curious to see which one would be the appropriate namesake. Would it be the Sherlock Hound, who looks like a fox? Or would it be better to do a version of Fantastic Mr. Fox from the movies and storybooks? So that would be an interesting choice to make. Both are foxes, indeed. Actually kind of amusing. Fantastic Sherlock Fox has the convenient confusion in his moniker when people call him that. They usually call him FSF, partly because A, Fantastic Sherlock Fox is a mouthful, but B, we just happen to run in circles that when people say, Fox, just leave it like that, or sometimes Foxy, then people think that there's some connection to, like, Foxy No Tail, which is definitely not the case. But I mean, that's not the only situation. I'll raid into Groova and start hearing him talking about DC, which is not DC that we know. Like it's not Diecraft 73, it's Diver Cat. And also a very fun personality to hang around with, but it's just sometimes it throws me when I see, I'll be in different places and I'll see or hear DC referenced, and it's like, who are you talking about? Or Fox? Who are you talking about? Or to make a mini assumption and then go, that sentence didn't make any sense. Reread it with the other name put in there, and it makes far more sense. I hope that goes both ways. I'm biased to prefer your sense of humor, but that's just, clearly biased. Yeah. It totally confuses me when Groove was talking about Diver Cat, but so he should, Slightly different community, different faces. Different awesome people. I mean, when I first met Tiz for Truth, it was confusing me because there's a totally different Tiz from Truly Bedrock. I was like, which one am I talking to? And now I'm more used to that. So Tiz for Truth for me is Tiz. not Tiz Tom. So yeah. Confusion abounds. Alrighty. We are just about there. Can I at least finish this level before something nasty shows up? Maybe? Maybe not? Maybe not? Actually, it would be my kind of luck if I did have somebody sleeping for me on a regular basis. Like, the first time they choose to log off, I would immediately get pegged off and knocked off the top of this by, like, phantoms or something. I already had a phantom death this month. Sorry, calendar's full. I'm hearing little clicks and noises from my music in the background because I've got my feed of it turned down. And I don't know if it's too low for you guys, but nobody said anything. In any case, but what I'm hearing out of it, every once in a while I jump a little bit and I pause because I keep thinking, oh yeah, that's a creeper. No, it's not. Oh. So I've got this one figured out. Maybe I should actually start making notes on a per playlist basis. If I change to a different playlist, the volume that works well for that playlist is completely different. Can I? Oh, there we go. If I started having one of those, hey, can I land on such and such block predictions, that would be kind of sad. Because when someone with cred like Phantom Limb does that, he stacks up a huge pile of blocks, one, I guess, tower, you know, 1 by 1 wide. If I do that, it'd be like, you know, all of this bit that you can see is supposed to be solid. And I still could miss. That's part of why I don't run those as predictions, as ridiculous as it would be. Oh, speaking of things one can do with points, aside from redeems and all that jazz, I had made noises in multiple different streams that I wanted to start a new community points challenge to do another long Lego build as a birthday thing for myself. Because that actually would be a Friday, so it'd be, you know, a lovely opportunity for a stream. Unfortunately, I won't be doing it after all, because turns out that particular Friday happens to be the day we leave for scout camp into more snow and ice and stuff, like the second one. So we've got one scout camp right before Halloween and then another one around about the 12th, I guess, of November. So yeah, I won't be streaming that day. Oh well. Maybe when we get back, we'll do something after that and see if we can get one in before Christmas. But I just thought it'd be kind of fun to do, spend part of my day doing that. But then I was already trying to figure out how I was going to fit it in with Remembrance Day ceremonies and everything else. So I think this is probably for the best. So let's just see. As soon as I finish this one, I'll take a quick gander, because we're already well over time. I'm going to take a quick gander and see how many rows we have left. Oops. Yeah. Let's see how many rows we have. No more? No more. Okay. Let's take a look here. So we go up. Oh, it's going to be in the middle of it. Great. I guess I can stand over here. It's going to get wider, so maybe I'll stand on this corner. Just when things get wide up and around my ears, I actually start to feel kind of sick, so I'm just going to stand over here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I bet there's 2 more above that. 9, 10, 11, oh, 12, 11. So we got 11 or 12. At this rate, that should be hopefully not too much longer, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah, and as I said, I won't keep you guys for all the lighting up, but it would be really nice to finish it off just enough to be able to show everybody, hey, here's what we did this weekend. We actually finished it, got a nice, good thumbnail, and you can sort of go, yeah, I was there, whether it means anything to you or not. Wait, is this one empty? No. Okay, let's get another one. That one. Like these. So what did you do with all your stone from mining down? Well, I went to build some guy with an empty head. Indeedly-do there, neighbor. Oh. Wow, that feels really random. My mouse just doesn't want to click neighboring blocks. There we go. Jump. Gonna betcha that those blocks, we're probably in the right spot, but it just feels strange to have them on that layer. Okay, so we have been through what is one thing you buy every time you go shopping because it's so good. I have not noticed that one, so let's see. What's something you buy? I don't do the shopping. Well, yeah, I don't do most of the grocery shopping, partly for that reason. The implication of the question is kind of like, what is that guilty pleasure you insist on buying? But I mean, it could even be your favorite brand of something that makes sense to buy. One of the things that I would buy every time, probably, would be sourdough bread. But the problem with sourdough bread, unfortunately, is just something about the temperature and humidity in our house. It doesn't last very long before it starts to go with extra yeast and stuff in the house. So, but I do like a good fresh sourdough bread. That's one of my favorites. I know that there are some here that absolutely must buy ramen. I know there are some that that love, ice cream, cookies, kimchi, you name it. There's plenty of different opportunities and options. What's another thing I would probably do? Various different pre-made pastas and pre-made Asian foods, particularly things that European and Asian foods that take work. It's not because I don't want to do it. Okay, let me correct that. It is because I don't want to do it, but it would be because I like them, but they're not necessarily as big a fan or favorite in the household to make it worth putting in the effort to do it myself from scratch. So things like if you can find a half decent brand of somebody who will make cabbage rolls, well then I'll have cabbage rolls. I love it. And my kids are like, no can do. No, tomato, beef, and rice, not such a thing. So they don't really do stuffed peppers or whatever either. Lasagna is that kind of thing. That's my other one. Me and Garfield would go really well. Fruit. Ah, yeah, pineapple. Oh yeah. Chocolate for now. Yeah, I can't blame you. So do you have a favorite chocolate bar, Benson? And what are, based on the fruits in season now, Minx, what would your favorite be? I think it sounds like you said pineapple. I don't believe it's pineapple season. I'm never familiar with the tropical ones like that because they come from a region that kind of doesn't really get off-season in a big way. I have a guilty guilty pleasure item. Sometimes, just for the heck of it, because something about it I quite like, I will buy criminy mushrooms, like canned button criminy mushrooms. And rather literally canned, like not even pickled, but canned. Something about just that particular rubbery squidginess is very homey to me. I don't get it. The flavor is kind of not really there. I don't know what it is. But I will buy canned whole mushrooms and just like eat them. So yeah, I don't do it that's the other reason I don't go shopping, because there's dumb little things like that would show up on the shopping list. Or like canned chickpeas or garbanzo beans. Like, that's not a big popular thing in the house either. And I don't even know where I got into liking those. And yet, I'll do chickpeas. I'll do, wash, salads, whatever. But I won't do falafels, and to me they're unfortunately falafels. There could be a lot of other non-chickpea related reasons for that. And I can't do hummus. The hummus one's a textural thing, though. Pears. Oh, well. Yeah, pears, I would say. Pears are interesting. They come in really sort of two really distinct varieties. Up here we get a lot of Bartlett pears, which are sort of the more yellowy ones, and they can go soft really quick, but when they're in the right stage of ripeness, oh, they are so delicious. And chocolate. Reese peanut butter cups are my thing. I don't know what it is, but if Reese ever started selling, like, a jarred peanut butter that tastes like the peanut butter out of their peanut butter cup, I'd be there in line, waiting. I know it's got a lot of sugar in it and a lot of bad stuff, but there's something about the way the inside of a Reese peanut butter cup tastes is amazing. I like Reese's Pieces mostly. And the reason I say mostly is I'm not really sure what they do to the outside of them. I can still eat them. I will eat them to no end. But Reese's Pieces, something about the way they cover the outside. It could be the shellac, I don't know. But it's not something you find in a lot of other candies. And to me, it gives them a nice crunch, but it just seems weird. I don't know, something about it just... I'm not much of a textural person in terms of, like, textures don't usually bother me in that sense, but Reese one, something about the outside, I don't know, is just odd. It might be. It might be. I've seen people that have also done like a chocolate peanut butter swirl type ice cream. Peanut butter. I've also seen people that up here we used to be able to get, I think it was Smucker's brand, for those of you that are familiar with that one. And they did peanut butter and jelly, like a grape jam. Sorry, not grape. Grape jelly all swirled together in the jar. So basically you reach in, you scoop, and you get the same, like, two flavors together. So basically it's a one utensil peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It works really well. What's the other one that we got up here? It was kind of odd. My parents, when I was a kid, used to buy peanut butter and honey mixture. So like it was a thick, non-liquid honey that had been swirled through the peanut butter jar as well. And then once again, you know, it's the one utensil sandwich. I'm really glad nobody came up with peanut butter and banana in a jar, because that was just gross. Like, I like it as a sandwich. But it's like slices of banana with peanut butter on the other half of the bread. It's just not... It's not something you could swirl together or make a paste out of. Like if somebody turned my bananas into a paste first and then put peanut butter with it, I don't think I would want to eat it. But I mean, everybody's got their thing. I was quite relieved to discover my daughter likes meat on a bun. You know, I know it sounds dumb, but like, you know, just a lot of us grew up with your generic lunch meat ham sandwich or something like that. That was our lunch. Our kids up to this point they've been deconstructed kids. They still are in most cases, deconstructed foods. So sandwiches were generally a no-go. But now that she's doing, she likes to do ciabatta buns with what we call Montreal smoked meat, but basically it's just a smoked roast beef. It's got something about particular spicing and brining and whatever. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it's available in the US or if there's something similar they do down there. But it's quite a relief to me, at least, because it makes the idea of lunches a little bit easier. And also it's something that my extended family can understand. Because when we start to do group meals, they just don't quite always get it. And they keep going, do you want butter on that? No. Do you want ketchup with that? No. Do you want to put mustard with that? No. Just leave my kids alone. And then they get really fussy about, aren't you going to use your fork to eat that? Just leave me alone with my rolled up lunch meat and my bun or bread on the side. And sometimes when they forget and make sandwiches or put things together, and sometimes my kids will put things together like a sandwich just to get my father to back off and stop picking on them, and then they'll take the sandwich apart and eat it separately. But they're picky, and I can't blame them about things like, you know, if you pre-pack your lunch meat sandwich, then half the time the bread is soggy by the time you go to eat your sandwich. And I keep going to the back of the statue. Silly me. That did not help anybody. Jump! All right. Well, my goodness. It's entertaining. Oh boy. Yeah, okay, so we can start to see that we're getting there. We're into Stone Man's hat. There we go. Really? Oh. At least that wasn't a full-on death. That would have just been high on the embarrassing scale. Okay, let's just get this going. Can I please land on... There we go. Okay. Page up. So, yeah, chocolate is a great one. That's one of the other reasons that I don't, as I said, I don't shop is there probably would be chocolate on there far more frequently than I like. Or, truth be told, the other part of it was shopping would take too long. Because there would be guilty pleasure items I would want to buy, and I'd stand there waffling. Wasting time waffling as to whether or not I will buy it or not, knowing that it's either, not good for me, or, oh, it's got too many calories. Right? Or, can I really make myself stop eating it but have it in a small enough portion that it'll actually, hit that craving, and then, yeah, well, I should know by now, not that far south of middle of the century in age, that I should, there's no point in having those conversations, because I'm always going to be wrong, regardless of whether I made the choice to buy it or not. If I don't, I'm going to wish I did. If I do, I'm going to guilt myself for the fact that I did. I'm always going to be wrong on that front. So it's not a why fight it. It's just, it's the waste of time spent in the waffling. If the knee-jerk reaction said after you think about it goes, nope, you really shouldn't buy that, I think I need to stop there. But yeah, so I'm kind of glad Fantastic Show Fox does the shopping. I've asked him about shopping for others. In terms of our kids don't have a sweet tooth, so don't buy so much for them. And then, of course, I now know why they don't have a sweet tooth is partly because of the way that they've been able to have sweets and stuff. But also, there's the justification that I've used for myself a million times too, where, if you look at that tray of, I was just in Nanaimo bars, but I don't know what you guys would call them. But it was the tray of sweet bars in the store, and it's a lot easier to buy them and want to enjoy them if you can somehow justify that they're either not just for you, or, oh well, I also bought the fun dip for the kids, or I also bought the whatever else, right? Sometimes I justify things as a chocolate bar. It's like, well, why did you buy the chocolate bar? Oh, well, because it's an import. Yeah. I'm not going to get much opportunity for that. Which, frankly put, I only tend to buy the imported chocolate bars that are the ones that are my favorite regardless, and part of the reason they're my favorite is because they're not impossible to get. I mean, I do have an absolute favorite flavor that is virtually impossible to get over here, but that's neither here or there at the moment. It's just, so the excuses are kind of hollow. Let's see, every time you shop. What's something that we buy every time we shop? I'm trying to think about that. That's a good one. I should add some more questions to that list, because I don't know if we're starting to get through that list or not. So need more questions of the day. All mods are able to add questions of the day, so if you guys think of something, then contact one of the mods, and they can always add it for you to the list. I don't know when it will come up, but yeah, if you guys have one that you're curious about or just want to throw it there, then just contact a mod and they can dump that in the list for you. Did I say a dozen levels? Wow. Right now it feels like it might as well be 100 because we're already into his hat, and it crossed my mind once to consider putting in, like, adding the joke of putting in this guy's brain, and I'm like, no. Looking at where we are now, too much work. It's a matter of choosing the amount of effort for a one-trick pony joke. And besides, if not everybody's running, say, something like FreeCam to be able to go basically X-raying or non-collision with walls and stuff in their cameras, it's not even worth the joke that it's made out to be. Okay, where are we here? Come on. The other big tip that we're getting close to the top and just about done is that the layers are becoming more and more thick. Like, as in more enclosed. It's not just a rim anymore. Okay, is that it? Age it up. There we go. There was a system once upon a time. Organization? No. Over here. So does anyone else have... Actually, I was going to say it's not Saturday, it just occurred to me. I was going to say, what are your big plans for the rest of the weekend? But no, that is the rest of the weekend. Today is Sunday. I did not actually lose a day, or gain another day. I just don't normally stream on the weekend, so just momentary brain fart. For those of you that, I guess, have spend time around kids, have kids, nieces, nephews, neighbors' kids, if you wanted, hypothetically, if you wanted to share with them something from their childhood, or even if you don't have kids in your life, if there was some sort of pop culture element from your youth that you wish kids today knew more about, what would that be? That one just popped into my brain, so it's not like I had that planned anywhere. We talked earlier about the fact that I wish my kids were more into music or whatever, but if we're talking pop culture element, sometimes I think it's stuff like The Simpsons. There's far too much for the kids to catch up on, and even I know I'm very out of date by multiple seasons. But sometimes there are things like references and stuff that my husband and I will make a joke about, and we'll be referencing like Comic Book Guy or something. And our kids are like, what? I don't get it. It's not even an hey, you're old kind of joke. It was sort of the, oh, was that supposed to be funny? Because they don't even know who or what we're talking about. And that would probably be one of mine, would be The Simpsons. For a while, I think it would have been fun to show them some of the cheesy old Spider-Man cartoons from our youth. Things like, or that had elements like, yeah, we'll reuse the scene by having it the scene appear to scroll by, but the animation is just still the exact same frame of, or few seconds of animation just pasted over top as the scene scrolls past. Like that sort of cheap animation reuse stuff was so very common. Oops. They did that in a lot of cartoon movies and stuff too. I mean, there's part of the reason I don't show them some of that old stuff is, as fun as it would be for them to have a bigger knowledge of who, say, Bugs Bunny is and so on, so much of that content is not funny today. Ow. But I mean, I was trying to explain to them, or not explain, off and on show them things about like Wile E. Coyote. That's one I definitely would share with my kids. Or other people's kids. I wish more kids knew about Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. As odd as it is, I actually wish some of modern comedy retained occasionally more elements of physical humor. I don't necessarily mean slapstick, although that would be kind of nice. But I mean sometimes it doesn't take much. Like I was watching, you brought this up yesterday, I was watching the Bulbous Bouffant skit that I was talking about yesterday in stream. And one of the things that makes this, like, there's elements that are so funny is the way you say the word. But the physical comedy part of it was that when one of the characters says the line that would have been Bulbous Bouffant, I'll explain in a second what actually happened. But anyways, they squat. They just did a big squat. More of a plie style squat, like knees a little bit more diamond, as they say the line, and that just gives it a different level of humor than simply saying things and standing in one spot. So apparently, in the version I posted for Carnage Joe's Discord, and I will probably throw it on DC's now that I mentioned it twice. In the version of this skit, they thought that people didn't know what a bouffant was. I mean, yeah, they don't, but that wasn't the point. Anyways, but people don't know what a bouffant was. And rather than thinking it was funny and just leaving it in anyways, no, the people who wrote the skit, when they got the chance to perform it on national television, they changed it instead to turquoise tutu. But as they do the turquoise tutu line, there's like this picture of a guy in a three-piece suit. He's got a briefcase beside him. He's waiting for the bus, right? And then as he's doing a wordplay and how they say things, the physical comedy element is that he just does a great big plie while holding his briefcase. And it's not something that you would ever see a guy like that ever do. It was, so the physical part of the humor was in the motion. And then, I mean, there's the classic physical humor stuff like pratfalls and so on. I could do without some of those. Alrighty then. Which one did I mess up? Is it this one? Yeah, it's that one. That's funny that the whole thing has a hole built in the hat, and yet I just happened to pick the correct bucket page up. Let's go with this. And I shouldn't have said anything about that skit, because now I've got the part of it going through my head. So I'll definitely have to post it. But, yeah. Let's see. Wow. Once again, between the auto conversation once again, between the auto conversation has overwhelmed the actual conversation. So I need to figure out what's critical and what's not. And I think I need to find out another way to trigger things, because the auto conversation is just crazy. Basically what's happened... Oh, not that one. What I'm looking at, practicality in a technical sense. Last time, I'm going to go technical for today. With the time stuff we talked about, Spanky said he turned off a lot of his timer items because he's having too much going on all at once. Or like triggering all at once. But what happens with these things is they're set up in such a way that they're supposed to have a requirement of both a certain number of lines of conversation from real users in chat, plus the expiry of a certain number of minutes since last notification, like last time that notification ran. The problem is twofold. One is that it's including itself in the chat count, like in the number of chat lines, so that's an issue. The other part of that is that it's right now it seems to be not only counting itself in some cases, but in other cases, even when it hasn't been 10 comments by the bot, we're still seeing the minute timers triggering even without the conversation. So both are a fail. Oh, haha. You can start to see we're almost there. We got the hat closed. I've been saying we're almost there for the last 20 minutes, so I do appreciate if you guys have other places to be, but I also very much appreciate those that are choosing to stick it out. Both groups are welcome. And okay, next. This one empty. Empty. Okay. Hopefully this is the last load. I see a spider on his shoulder. Weirdly appropriate. All right. It's like that Lego thing, in that I said, "Oh no, we're gonna go end to end. It's gonna be short, really. And if I run out of time in stream, I will blah blah blah." Yeah. I think I need a sound clip that simply says, "Good luck with that." It's not about sarcasm per se, but it's realism. Okay. Page up. So if anybody else happens to have any tips or tricks in their arsenal that involve improved block control for speed placing or other easy to digest sized bites of recommendations for different ways to speed oneself up in Minecraft, I am all ears. Feel free to pardon me, to either DM me or tweet me or whatever, even email me if you like. Just what am I here? Cool. Anyways, I don't know. It is late. It is Sunday. Does anybody have big plans? No, I don't mean necessarily positive ones. Like, you've all probably, got to do things like appointments or work tomorrow or something like that. But does anybody actually have anything notable on the docket this week? I know I've already talked about the fact that I'm going to camp. Like that, done, old. But what else is on for this week is we've got... Oh, actually, I guess this week isn't the week. I keep thinking it's going to be November, but it's not. I've got coming up yet another musical with my mother, so we'll have to see if I can come up with any good stories about people watching while I'm doing that. Really, hat. How many layers do you have? I think, by the way, this is sticking out. Hopefully this is the bow on the top. Oops, not that one. It's called Hire Someone Else instead of you. Ooh! Now, without prying too much, Benson, real birthday or just the day you're going to celebrate? And either way, as such, do you have any fun plans, or have you already had your celebration, or intend to celebrate on a different day? Like, so if tomorrow's not the actual celebration day either, do you have any fun plans in the works? As a good way to celebrate, or must you need to coordinate with your birthday buddy? Pardon me. Real. Well, do you think they would mind if I just sort of took note of that and mentioned it later on? Actually, I guess no. Tomorrow's Monday. I don't stream, so you don't have to worry about me announcing it on stream. So that's good news. Max layer. Ooh, guess what? I don't see no more blocks. Other than the hole. Yippee skippy! Okay, so how far does this hole go? Down. Look down the hole. Page down. Uh-oh, can't look down. Okay, there we go. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can almost reach it. done. Reveal, yes. Close enough. Let's see. 1. Can I get down there? I just... Feeling 2. 3. Come on, you. 4. Okay. So, we're gonna call it close enough. Can I fly? Maybe. Wow, that thing's big. Let's go over here. No, it doesn't even render. Ha ha ha. Joke's on me. Okay, well, we'll use this tree again. Maybe. How many times will Delenn crash into a tree? Okay. Let me count the ways. Here we are. Because that thing's big. F1. I'm missing one spot. 1 brick. But I'm just going to take this off. And there we are. So, after quite a long period of time, oh geez, almost 3 hours. My apologies to those of you that stuck it through. I didn't expect it was going to be quite that long of an overrun. We made it. And by the way, happy future birthday to Benson and probably Lyric. I hope you guys are able to have a great day and to celebrate. So yeah, we built it. We made it. So yeah, I'm going to let it up off camera and probably put one, not just missing block on the mouth section, but probably one more block on the end of the nose. Something about that nose just looks really odd to me. I might even cut it off a little bit. Cut off his nose to spite his face. But yeah, we made it. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Let's just get ourselves... I'm on a tree. It means... Sorry. I'm just gotta catch this for a second. So you guys can see, just down here, it looks like the inspectors have showed up. Do I have... Nope, I don't have it. Shoot. I thought I had my... Oh, I'm gonna get myself dead if I do this. Okay, well, I'm not gonna worry about it. We've got some pillager inspectors popping in. And they popped in right at the end with a captain and a flag. There they are. See? Checking out the build. Alright, so step 1. First thing we are going to do is see if there's anybody interesting live. Thank you very much for coming by. I'm glad you guys had some fun. Once again, thank you to Dadcraft for having such a fantastic server and having a fantastic crew to hang around with. Thank you to everybody who plays on these servers. You guys make these weekends a whole ton of fun. I am going to... Ooh. What is he doing? I think I'm going to head us over into Griffin Prime. So let's get that raid started up, and I'll see if there's anybody else I missed saying thank you to before we head over.
Mischief managed.
Right. Okay, so I want to say thank you to Benson and Fantastic Sherlock Fox and the Zerks for being my mods this week. Thank you very much for the resubs from PP Zerk and Zerk, as well as the gifts from Dub Dynamite, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, and Benson. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Stormy, for bringing your crew over here and letting us finish off this stream weekend. Thank you very much to those that were chatting in the channel, including, but not limited to, Lyric, Yellow, Max, Minx Nevada, Arch, Swanky Potato, and of course, Dynamite. If I miss saying thank you to anybody, please do know that you are appreciated and very welcome here, and I hope everybody has a great remainder to their weekend. So head on over to Griffin. Feel free to copy that raid message. The one for the subs is at the top there with the little sheep toque thing, and then also... It's not actually a toque, it's a Jeb sheep, but anyways. So there's the sub message at the top, the global one at the bottom, or any emotes you feel that you want to use. So thank you everybody and have yourself a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.